It's Tuesday, October 29th, and welcome to the wonders of stock market cycles projections. This is a great day for us personally because we got our first grandchild today, Maximus Alexander Eliades, born October 29th, about 4:45 in the morning, 8 pounds, 11 ounces, 22 and 3/4 inches, big boy. Anyway, we're excited. It's my first grandchild. And may he live a long and healthy life. Let's look at the market. This is, we told you yesterday that we'd start to go over some of the other averages and indexes. This is the DJIA, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. There's a couple of interesting things to look at here. This is a nominal 20-day projection chart that we're looking at. The offsets are 7 to 8 trading days. And we won't get into the complications as to why that's the half span for a nominal 20-day cycle projection, but someday we will in the not too distant future. Anyway, we got an initial projection for that back here on October 11th, as we did on the S&P, and that projection called for prices of 27,449 to as high as 27,888 and change. Those projections were invalidated on this one day right here. That was October 24th. And 90% of that had to do, of course, with the action of Boeing, which is in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. My suspicion is that because we've reestablished back above those offset lines, that this projection may well be in effect still. If it isn't, then at least this very short-term projection, see this low that was established down here, and then a crossing above the lines right here again, gave us these short-term upside projections to 27,248 rounded off and 27,341 rounded off. So that's a very minimum, I would say now, but I'm still suspicious in thinking that these projections could still be in effect, especially based on the equivalent projections on the S&P 500. Okay, so that's the first thing we look at on the Dow. The next thing is the nominal 5-week projections, and the nominal 5-week projections look like this. This one is a very clear-cut projection, no questions about it. The only question here would have been, as you see, this again was, I think, the big Boeing day when everything else did all right and the Dow did not. So it got above both of these offset lines, but then on that down day it got below the outer offset line. This is 12.1 to 13.8, so this would be 13.8 trading days, but then immediately got back above it again. And so we never got, after getting above both lines, we never got below both lines again. So there was what I would call a preliminary invalidation, but never a full invalidation. That means that this projection is still in effect. And this one calls for 28,029 rounded off to as high as 28,075. Now, it's a legitimate question to say, well, why are some of these boxes sometimes quite small and sometimes they're very broad in terms of the price projections given? Well, the answer lies right here. Look where prices cross the offset lines. Prices are crossing the offset lines here very, very close together, and that makes for a very narrow box. The other thing you have to like about this projection is if you're going to be wrong, if this projection is not going to be reached, if the projections are going to be invalidated, the lines are right under you here. You don't have to wait till they go way down here again. Your lines are right underneath you. So if there's going to be an invalidation, it'll happen at a relatively high level. So those are the reasons why we like this projection, and we have to honor that projection until met or invalidated. Okay, the next projection is a nominal 20-day, or I should say 20-week projection, and this one looks like this. Again, see how broad this box is, the projection box? That's because look where the first line was crossed. The first line was crossed at this level right here, right at this level, and the second line way up here, almost 500 Dow points higher. So you have a huge projection box here. Now, the range of that projection box calls for projections. Let's bring our range down a little bit more here so we can see it more clearly. These projections call for, it looks like 27,297 to 28,339 rounded off. We're very close to the lower side of those projections. So if those projections are met, again, anytime we meet projections, especially longer ones, we have to be prepared for some kind of pullback. But we know from the nominal 5-week projection we just showed you that there are significantly higher projections outstanding. Okay, the last one we're going to look at in terms of the Dow projections is again, these are nominal weekly projections, but they're on the daily charts. So notice that this is the December low right here. By the way, look how perfectly, it was a big projection box, granted, but look how the projections in the Dow called virtually the exact low in December of 2018. Then we had this spectacular rally. Prices crossed above the projection lines right in this area here around March of this year. And they started coming back. It looked like we might invalidate. They came down here, went below one of the lines. It looks like they never got below both lines because this projection box has remained in effect. And this projection on the Dow is a good one. It calls for 29,006 and change up to as high as 30,212. And again, we have to like these projections and the configurations because look what it would take to invalidate it. All we need to do is get below both these lines. This is still a relatively high level, and those projections would be invalidated. It would not be correct to look for them to be achieved any longer. So, with that in mind, let's go. Those are the Dow projections we want to show you. The next chart we want to show you is this chart right here. Now, let's bring the lower scale up a little bit so you can see the whole chart. There we go. Notice how we came down to the lower part of this channel October 23rd, October 24th, October 25th, for 3 days in a row. In fact, got a tiny bit below it here, rallied again, not quite to the halfway point of the channel, and now at the close today, right on the channel again. That will be significant to you when we show you the next couple of short-term intraday projection charts. So remember where we are on this channel. We could immediately turn up tomorrow. Remember, we have significantly higher projections. So the expectation would favor a turn up from these levels right here. And I'll show you another chart, a projection chart that might agree with that too. But you'll know immediately if we come down almost anything at all in the first hour or two tomorrow, that would imply that we may have more downside activity in front of us. The last charts I want to show you are 27-minute offsets. These 27-minute offsets are right here. And the first one we want to show you is this one right here. Now, mind you, for those that have not been following us with these charts for long, these are 27-minute bars. The reason we use 27, it's not an arbitrary number. Why not use 30 minutes, you say? Because 27-minute charts fit an exactly equal 15 bars into the day. There are 405 minutes in the futures day, which Pacific time starts at 6:30 and goes to 1:15. So that's 405 minutes of trading. You divide 405 by 15, you come up with 27. We use them, and we have made the correct adjustments, we believe the correct adjustments, to be able to do our projection technique with them. So look what happened at the close, though, today. We got a projection down to this box, 30.3274. to 30.3163. The low for the day, late in the day, was 30.33 even. So it missed by about 26 cents by making an exact projection. So for all practical purposes, you can say that this projection was met. That sets it up to turn up immediately tomorrow. If you look above us in the line going by above us, that's the futures trading right now. This is 4:40 Pacific time, so that's around 7:40 Eastern time. The futures are down a minimal amount. They're down Right now, the E-mini contract is down 75 cents. So they're still trading right in this territory around this line. So that means the first bar or two tomorrow could be important. So now the question is, if we can say we've met this projection or very close to it, what does the next one look like? And the next one looks exactly like this. This is interesting. Now see, we have broken the first offset line, but not the second. So when that happens, we say this is a preliminary projection, and the computer, the program, our brilliant little program by our brilliant little programmer, Stefan Scherman from Switzerland, who did a fabulous job putting this software together. This shows us a preliminary downside projection, the 302807 on the S&P E-mini futures contract. Now, if tomorrow we go below this second line, then that will confirm the downside projection and may give a projection a little bit lower than this, because as you see, it could, well, this is where the line was crossed for the first offset line. The second one may be crossed here, or it could, if we have a big down opening tomorrow, down here somewhere for projections down in around here. So if we think it's important, I don't think it will be, but if we think it's important, we'll do a special update tomorrow if we see something happening in terms of the projections, and see if there's something that more information we can give you intraday. In the meantime, please go and subscribe to these updates, our chapter, and ring the bell. If there are any special updates, you will be notified of those special updates as soon as they go on. Please make remarks below on our video on YouTube. Hopefully they're complimentary remarks, but if you have criticisms, we want to hear those too. And give us a few thumbs up if you'd like, or a thumbs down if you explain to us why. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll talk to you tomorrow after the market close.